29-year-old Florida woman Elizabeth Teckenbrock went viral in the late spring of 2024 following a heartbreaking TikTok clip depicting the struggles of a single mother. Teckenbrock was seen in a video with tears streaming down her face while preparing a cake by herself. The video's caption read, "Being a single mom is making your own birthday cake on your birthday so that your babies can feel happy they are singing to you." The video would ultimately be viewed close to 70 million times, with a significant portion of the total views attributed to the scandal that followed, as Teckenbrock was being inundated with praise and support from the online community. Her ex-husband, Andrew Cormier, took to TikTok to denounce the woman as a scammer. The 37-year-old man revealed he was in full custody of their 2 young girls and that Teckenbrock barely saw them because she goes out all the time. Cormier reported that his ex-wife had been arrested for fraud in the past and that she owed him over $20,000 in child support. Cormier additionally alleged that his ex-wife had stolen nearly $1 million from another guy and that she'd faked having cancer on social media. Several of Teckenbrock's former friends came forward on social media in support of the latter allegation. The Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office subsequently confirmed that Teckenbrock had been arrested in August of 2023 on third-degree grand theft and cash or deposit item with intent to defraud. Cormier felt that users shouldn't see Teckenbrock as an inspiration, given the fact that she barely knew her children and was a habitual liar with a criminal past. In her video rebuttal, Teckenbrock began by saying, "I would never bring the parents of my children down," before she proceeded to describe her ex as being extremely abusive throughout their relationship. Teckenbrock confirmed her past arrest as well as the fact that Cormier had full custody, but explained her loss of parental rights as a consequence of her not having the resources to fight him in court. She then accused her ex-husband of creating websites and social media content dedicated to ruining her life and that he was part of the Church of Scientology. Teckenbrock claimed that she'd left him because he was abusive and that his retaliatory actions towards her stemmed from a Scientologist mindset. Regarding her viral TikTok video, which had set the confrontation in motion, she claimed that she was baking alone and crying because Cormier had prevented her from seeing her daughters on her birthday. The woman detailed that she'd gone to dinner with friends and planned to meet the girls afterwards, but that Cormier didn't allow her to do so, telling her she'd chosen to go out instead of seeing them. The TikTok back and forth between Teckenbrock and Cormier captivated the internet, with countless users weighing in on who they believe was in the right, some by providing their own research on the accusations. In his reply to his ex-wife, Cormier denied being a Scientologist and making content with the intention of hurting her. The scandal eventually died down, with Teckenbrock posting a video that began with, "I owe the whole entire internet an apology," but she didn't address any of the allegations made by her ex, instead choosing to apologize to the users for whom their back and forth might have been triggering. She pledged not to mention the online scandal moving forward. Cormier wiped his TikTok page with the exception of the video stitched to Teckenbrock's original clip. He similarly bowed out of the confrontation, writing, "The added frenzy and mob tactics that this has created has the potential to be extremely harmful to me, my ex-wife, and our children." As of early June of 2024, the matter appeared to have moved out of the social media space. Number 7. Sean Kingston. Singer Sean Kingston was arrested in May of 2024 in the area of Fort Irwin, an army base in the desert about 150 miles northeast of Los Angeles. On the same day, the musician's Southwest Ranches mansion in Florida was raided by SWAT teams, and his mother, 61-year-old Janice Turner, was taken into custody. The duo was reported to have been responsible for scams totaling nearly $1 million. Kingston, Kissian Paul Anderson by his real name, was best known for his debut single, Beautiful Girls, the video of which racked over 1 billion views on YouTube alone. His career gradually declined, and at the time of his 2024 California arrest, he was on probation for trafficking in stolen property. He was extradited to Florida and booked at the Broward County Jail. He faced 10 charges, which were listed during his hearing in early June. They included grand theft, fraud, and criminal use of personal identification, with Turner facing similar charges. Court documents indicated that Kingston and his mother had ripped off a car dealer of nearly $160,000 for a Cadillac Escalade and a jeweler of nearly $500,000. The grand theft charge against Kingston stemmed from the purchase and installation of a custom bed worth over $86,000. Other charges were related to him writing bad checks and defrauding banks. In another case, Kingston was reported to have scammed a company to which he'd reached out on Instagram to buy a 232-inch colossal TV and a sound system. The equipment would have cost him $111,000, but Kingston reportedly promised to shoot promotional videos about the products alongside pop icon Justin Bieber. The duo had collaborated on the song Eeny Meeny, which was featured on Bieber's 2010 debut album. At the time of claiming he and Bieber would promote the products, Kingston had no active projects with the pop star. Kingston and the company contractually agreed that he would make 2 payments and social media posts evaluated at $38,000. Kingston wired a $30,000 down payment, but never made the second payment nor filmed any promotional material, and the company subsequently sued him. As of the latest updates on the case, Kingston's bond was set at $100,000, and his lawyer stated an intention of him and Turner pleading not guilty to all charges. Number 6. Xuan Su. On December the 12th of 2023, Xuan Su was arrested at his Moorebank home in the southwest of Sydney, Australia, by cybercrime detectives who'd been investigating an SMS phishing scam. During the search of 39-year-old Su's home, the authorities found countless SIM cards and 2 devices known as SIM boxes. They were capable of holding over 250 active SIM cards and of sending out up to 150,000 messages per day. Through his complex setup, Su was alleged to have sent more than 17 million messages while posing as representatives from companies such as Linked and Australia Post. Strikeforce Canby was established by cybercrime authorities to investigate the use of SIM boxes after bulk text messages were found containing fraudulent links. Between September of 2022 and December of 2023, Su used Australian driver's licenses, passports and personal identification information with the intention of committing fraud. He was thus charged with using equipment connected to a network to commit a serious offense and dealing with identification information. Conviction on the latter charge alone would result in a maximum prison sentence of 10 years. His hearing was scheduled for July of 2024, and a prosecutor at Campbelltown local court commented on the case to say the matter is highly complex. There was a large volume of evidence. Number 5. Arbaz Khan. In the spring of 2024, several members of a London crime ring pleaded guilty to conspiracy to steal in the aftermath of a scheme in which vulnerable pensioners had been targeted. 31-year-old Arbaz Khan, along with Bradley Good and Hanad Mohammed, aged 23 and 20 respectively, were responsible for over 9 offences between November the 1st of 2021 and February the 16th of 2022. Working in conjunction with other criminals, they went to the victims' homes and persuaded them to hand over their bank cards. The criminals then drained all the money from the accounts of their victims, who had an average age of 87. The Metropolitan Police conducted a 3-month undercover operation during which they relied on CCTV footage, eyewitness accounts and phone monitoring. Arbaz was arrested on February the 16th of 2022, and body cam footage showed him feigning surprise upon being told that he was being taken into custody for fraud. It emerged that he'd sent one of his runners to the home of a 101-year-old woman to set up another scam on the day of his arrest. He admitted conspiracy in March of 2024 and was scheduled for sentencing in May. Number 4. Oyen Molaika. Cambodian singer turned entrepreneur Oyen Molaika was arrested by the Phnom Penh military police on December the 14th of 2022 for her role in a tontine scheme. Tontines were originally used by governments to raise capital starting with the 17th century. The scheme typically involves individuals pooling money together and then receiving dividends based on their share of returns from investments that are made with the pooled money. When participants in the scheme die, they aren't replaced, and instead the proceeds are divided among the living members. 27-year-old Molaika, whom local media described as an online lotion celebrity, was well known on social media for ostentatious displays of wealth. They involved her taking multiple photos with luxury vehicles and with piles of cash. As she was being criminally investigated, Molaika was accused of pilfering millions of the creditors' money and the issuance of cashless checks amounting to at least $365,000. In early 2023, Molaika's husband, Mitong Tin, posted a weeping video on social media insisting that the missing money had been lost due to financial carelessness and not used to fund his and his wife's lavish lifestyle. Molaika, who'd declared bankruptcy shortly before her arrest, was quoted as stating, "I went bankrupt and did not cheat anyone. If you do not believe, you can come and check my bank account and check what I have left, what I have lost now. I am also a victim." She was nevertheless convicted of non-performance of obligations on traded instruments. On September the 19th of 2023, she was sentenced to 3.5 years in prison and ordered to pay over $300,000 in compensation. Number 3. Joey Sapola. Leading up to 2022, Chicago man Joey Sapola built a fortune that he frequently flaunted on social media. He drove luxury cars that included a Bentley and a Lamborghini, owned a 12,000 square foot mansion in Bloomingdale, Illinois, in addition to owning a Cessna plane which he piloted himself. A 2022 indictment would reveal that his wealth had been primarily built through scams, which he'd carried out for most of his adult life. His extensive list of cons included failing to deliver on luxury auto sales over eBay, using a relative's social security number on casino tax forms, failing to file income tax returns, or fraudulently renting planes and hangars at DuPage County Airport. In 2020, Sapola had also fraudulently obtained close to $2 million through 4 loans under the Paycheck Protection Program and Economic Injury Disaster Loan Program, and 2 sources of relief under the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act. Sapola's criminal activity escalated to the point that one of his victims, Chicago restaurateur Dion Antic, started a Facebook account called Conned by Joey Sapola, in which he and others victimized by the con man bonded over their shared experience. Antic, who described Sapola as an arch criminal, had been swindled out of $35,000 for a used Corvette, and he compared Sapola to the titular conman character played by Matt Damon in the 1999 film The Talented Mr. Ripley. Following his 2022 arrest, Sapola seemingly maintained his defiance of law enforcement as he appeared to be flexing his muscles in his mugshot photo. In November of the following year, however, he pleaded guilty to federal charges of tax evasion, wire fraud and mail fraud. In May of 2024, he was given a 9-year sentence in order to pay over $2 million in restitution to entities and individuals victimized by his schemes. Sapola's conman lifestyle had caught up with him in the past, as he was convicted 17 times in 4 states, mostly for fraud-related charges starting from the age of 20. Today's topic was requested by Jordan Harris 6801, Laura Hooper 7609, and Nikki123BXD. If you have any other topics you'd like to learn about, subscribe and let us know in the comment section below. Number 2. Chao da Silva. Leading up to March of 2024, Brazilian man Chao da Silva had scammed at least 11 women he'd met through dating apps, illicitly earning over $350,000 in the process. Da Silva typically presented himself as a soap opera actor, music composer, or real estate owner. He claimed to be a man of wealth who struggled with financial hardship, typically in the form of fines on his farms. Da Silva created various excuses for why he couldn't pay said fines and tricked his victims into loaning him various amounts which he never paid back. Lawyer Thalita Silva loaned him $9,000, while an unnamed Sao Paulo woman was tricked into giving him $29,000. Taya Banharo was only conned out of $200, but she read a June 2023 Fantastico magazine report indicating that Da Silva had scammed other women. She thus came up with a plan to catch the con man. She set up a group chat with some of Da Silva's other victims, and together they created a fake social media profile through which they talked to the swindler on WhatsApp. Banharo and the other victims were also in communication with the authorities, and when a warrant for Da Silva was released, Banharo set up a date with him for March the 22nd of 2024 at a Rio de Janeiro restaurant. When Da Silva arrived, he was taken into custody by the Rio de Janeiro civil police, with the chief subsequently telling a media outlet his arrest was essential to prevent other people from falling for his scam. It would emerge that Da Silva, whom the media dubbed the Don Juan of crime, had been convicted of embezzlement in 2019 after he was connected to scams against 5 women. He was ultimately sentenced to community service, which he never completed, before he resumed his criminal activity, victimizing Banharo and the others. Number 1. Rob Harris. After connecting with fellow New Jersey realtor Rob Harris on Hinge in the spring of 2023, Christina LaBarbera believed she'd met the love of her life. The woman recounted in a New York Post interview in early 2024 that 30-year-old Harris had piqued her interest when he wrote to her, "I'll fall in love with you if you make me laugh." They met in person and the relationship ensued. Harris appeared to be the ideal partner for La Barberia. He worked in the same field, he was attractive, drove a Tesla Model 3, and was paying his mother's mortgage while his stepfather was having surgery. La Barberia believed him to be a very sweet, nurturing guy. She would remember that Harris love-bombed her soon after their first kiss, which she described as electric. The couple talked about moving to Florida together, and both applied for real estate licenses in the state. Then on August the 10th of 2023, Harris asked La Barberia to Venmo him $501, allegedly to test if his Venmo worked. He then decided to remain in Miami, claiming to have put an offer on a condo in Ventura while simultaneously trying to build a real estate network. A few days later, Harris asked La Barberia for $1,310, which he claimed he needed for a yacht charter and a restaurant outing as part of his networking efforts. La Barberia's savings gradually started dwindling, and she then agreed to send Harris $5,000 for an Airbnb in Miami. It was the first of several reported Airbnb payments to which La Barberia agreed. Each time, her boyfriend promised to pay her back and provided bank statements to indicate he had ample funds in his accounts. He then suddenly claimed he needed $12,000 for bail after he'd supposedly been arrested on an outstanding warrant stemming from a dispute with an ex-girlfriend. La Barberia wired him the money. They made plans to meet, but Harris never showed up and ceased communication with her. La Barberia subsequently went to the police, and investigators confirmed her suspicions that she was being scammed. She also found out that Harris had never been arrested, that the money for bail had gone to his Miami Airbnb, and that he had been living with another woman in New Jersey throughout their relationship. The man had swindled La Barberia out of over $70,000, and she filed a civil lawsuit against him. As of late February of 2024, police in Mahwah, New Jersey, had issued a warrant for Harris's arrest. Thanks for watching. Would you rather lose all your money or all your friends? Let us know in the comments section below.